Hey Aptera fans, I'm Quincy Hilla, Aptera's Digital Marketing Manager.
G'day, and welcome to the Aussie Ideas Man's 17th practice video. And this is going to be my 7th on Aptera. I just couldn't resist another one, especially when I saw their latest video, a 56-second grocery shop, and it was just too much nonsense to resist. So I thought I'd see if I could make 15 minutes out of it. Just, I guess now picking it to pieces because I've got into the habit of doing such a thing. But if I do pick it to pieces, I'd like for once somebody to show me why I'm wrong in any of it, because that has been sadly lacking. And there are too many videos that promote it and not enough balance, not enough videos that take an opposing view. Now, I'll be a bit pedantic with this one. Now, I've got only 56 seconds to work with, and I need to practice making a video. No script, just whatever pops into my head as usual, and let's see how we go. Do you like my embedding me into the still of Quincy? I would never do that for Pablo or even for any of the others, but I think Quincy's a little bit of an improvement. Pablo just doesn't have her dimple.
One of the first things people assume about Aptera is that it doesn't have enough space. To show you just how much stuff Aptera can fit, we're going on a grocery run. Ready to take a ride?
Now just watch this next one in slow motion. Notice she stops on the road to let a man with a trolley in front of her, who's not even on a crossing. And then, while there's a cameraman who takes the shot from her right-hand side, a trolley goes past in between the camera and the car on the road. I mean, what on earth for? What was that other trolley doing going down the road? They come out of Costco and go straight into their car parks. They don't do a sharp right turn and head down the road. It's just bonkers. We just might have a clue here to what Aptera really thinks of their customers. It's in the bottom left corner. I'm a bit disappointed with that grocery list because I can't see any ingredients for Pablo's tacos. In fact, just looks like, well, apart from the massive amounts of toilet paper, it looks like a list of biscuits and drinks. Unusual. What's really strange about it is that companies don't buy groceries for their employees. And if they do, they don't send a marketing manager to do the shopping. So there's some very unusual things going on here. Well, Quincy's finished her shopping run. Doesn't say whether the Aptera made it back to the factory. But anyway, just thought I'd let you know that Aptera is supposed to do, well, I think it was monthly reports, and they're way past their January report. So this less than a minute is in lieu of a report. They're supposed to be making 6 to 12 beta prototypes for testing. The first one was finished, if you can call it finished when you look at one. But the first one was finished December 23rd, and it's been over 3 weeks, and still we haven't seen the suspension testing that's supposed to be what the first beta's for, as far as I can tell. But anyway, aside from not having their report and slipping in this little less than a minute shopping trip where she goes there and doesn't come back, I still need to stretch this out. I promised a person in the comments that I'd make 15 minutes of it. It's going to be a bit of a task, I realise now, because I could only make 4.5 minutes of the actual video. Still, they're getting lots of comments, and I made a few. So from here on in, I'll just start to record some of the things that are in the comments. This is the actual video. Getting into the comment section now. If you recall, I showed a slow motion of Quincy parking the Aptera with the rear wheel just to the left and just behind a leaf. Well, this is further to that. One guy says this: hydraulic fluid run out from the rear wheel, 48 seconds. It won't be 48 seconds on my video, but it is on this one. And I don't think it is by hydraulic fluid. I think the leaf moves in the wind, but it just looks strange. And so it actually does look like it's in liquid. But the other thing is, if it moved in the wind, that front leaf doesn't budge. So there's a bit of an anomaly in this picture, whatever it is. Maybe it is the hydraulic fluid. Well, let's start with some of the first comments by the Aptera Motors. Want to go on a grocery run with Aptera? Well, now you can. Aptera Motors has introduced the first solar electric vehicle SUV that requires no charging for most daily use and boasts a range of up to 1,000 miles per full charge. I have often written that there are other solar electric vehicles that require no charging for most daily use. They're not the first. This range of 1,000 miles per charge might be a boast, but it's never been proven. It's a pie-in-the-sky claim. It has to be properly tested by independent people. Aptera leverages breakthroughs in lightweight structures, low drag aerodynamics and cooling, material science and manufacturing processes that deliver the most efficient vehicle ever made available to customers. Once again, pie in the sky, backyard manufacturing processes. They're always improved when they get to the production process. So they're still a backyard, and it is not better and not improved yet. It hasn't got far, actually. Anyway, low drag aerodynamics and cooling, material science. The cooling I've questioned, and I don't believe it works. In fact, the beta they made is radiator cooled because I don't think they believe it works. They claim it does. The alpha ones that have been shown driving have never been shown to drive consistently for any distance. So I think they stop for cooling rather than get by on the cooling system. If you look at my video on it, the cartoon that they made of the cooling doesn't make the slightest bit of sense at all. It really does treat customers like fools. Invest in Aptera. There's the website. Now, I'm pretty certain their last report, December, was saying that investments have closed forever, yet they still put this up, and they have a couple of occasions since the closing date. We can never believe what they say. Now it's time to go through the comments and have a look at how intelligent some of these are. Unfortunately, my consensus is, on average, Aptera is justified in treating people like fools because there are so many foolish comments. Nevertheless, I'll just run through and pick a few out just to get to my 15 minutes. Here's one where probably the biggest thing of all that I've ever encountered. Bruce, he He's stroking Quincy, and Quincy down here says, "Hi Bruce, as an Aptera employee, I'm one of the lucky ones who get to drive Aptera. I'm glad I get to share my experience with you all. Well, then you have this one. Didn't have to today. We actually don't know if she drove it. I know that is not important, but having worked on the movie industry, I learned how they can edit video to impress you with a belief that an actor did something. Again, not important here, just my observation." Bruce comes back with true, but it did look like her. Yes, the different t-shirt gave it away from me. Going back over all the drives, I really haven't seen anything substantial, with probably the exception of Jay Leno, and we don't know how much that was edited out to keep the car cool. Well, how cold the day was even. But anyway, that's that. Here's Aptera Motors saying, "The truck is big enough for two adults to sleep in." Calling it a truck. Now, they charge, I don't know, $700, $900 or something for that little bit of a fly that makes a little bit of a gap in the boot lid. It's pretty cramped in there. If you go to any camping store for half that money, you can get probably a 6 or 10 person tent. Why not just buy the tent? Now this is a good one. A serious Costco run. You get the biscuits and drinks. And lots of toilet paper. This shows that, that family environment seems to be giving a lot of them the runs. You can see my comment there. Just about every company in existence, regardless of its size, doesn't buy groceries for its employees. They'll send their digital marketing manager. If they did, they'll make a YouTube clip of it. You are over 2 weeks behind your reporting clip. There's a suspension testing going on that finished beta. And what's the second beta looking like at this stage? It would be 6 or 12 of them. Of course, this was a day ago. They're not quick to answer me. Yeah, and I think I'll just put up a picture here of the back end of a delivery van. Not a truck. In Australia, we call them a delivery van. I'll pick the Iveco Daily because I reckon an Aptera can go on its side in one of those completely. Here's what I like. Mug's all slaggingly. Considering that Munro and Associates is somewhat involved, I think it will make it to market. Will they be able to scale production? We'll see. So far, there are no red flags yet for me. One of the main constraints of EVs are the batteries and battery packs. From my research, they are working with wire bonders, and the pack design they showed once seemed solid to me. I've seen some quite wild and over-engineered ones from other larger companies, which were an absolute nightmare to scale in production. So I wrote, considering that Munro and Associates is somewhat involved, I think it will make it to market. Last week, I asked Munro in a comment on his latest video if he was doing much with Aptera, and I have had no reply. I did this because the involvement was unclear and very old, and I think there's a good chance he has had a change of mind since. That's worth considering. Will they be able to scale production? We'll see. So I put, will they be able to produce? We'll see. We are on the same page. So far, there are no red flags yet for me. I put, so far, it's not far enough. We'll see. He writes, one of the main constraints of EVs are the batteries and the battery packs. I write, what they claim and what every other EV maker gets is a red flag for me. You need to examine closer. He writes, from my research, they are working with Hess wire bonders, and the pack design they show once seemed solid to me. I've seen some quite wild and over-engineered ones from other much larger companies, which were an absolute nightmare to scale in production. So I write, seems solid, an absolute nightmare, and nothing I can evaluate. You're sounding like Ian Bruce. My absolutes are for data, metrics, not nightmares. Jeff Melodia says he's able to fit lots in. And Aptera says, sounds like you have some fun hobbies and we're glad Aptera can support them all. Alright, you just have to weigh no more than about 30 pounds. If you were to check the frequently asked questions, you will find that they are having problems being able to put anything in the back of any substantial weight because of the weights of drivers. Got a heavy driver in there, you have to remove that extra weight from the total load capacity. Really, the back is probably aiming at the toilet paper. Here's one where Aptera says they have plenty more videos coming down the line. Well, they're overdue their December report. January report. I'm looking forward to that. And they're also overdue their annual report, something they have to do by law. Here's one that talks about how the Aptera appears to be different in parking, especially Nathan Hubbard, who says it was closer to the left, but by the end of the video, closer to the right. That's what I noticed with the left. But, there could be some real funny editing going on with that. The parking is a problem. As I said, Costco is the widest car parks you find in Australia, and I think Costco was deliberately chosen because a lot of the shopping centre car parks would not have let them in a bay. Here's one from B. Moore asking for something to protect the load going into the front cabin when you brake. Peter Jorgensen, he's a regular fanboy, and says there's planning for a cargo separation there or divider to do it. Well, I'd just like to say that the first beta prototype actually has a roll cage, and that roll cage will stop large items from getting through. The other interesting thing about the roll cage is that they say that the shell is 8 times stronger than steel. So what's the purpose of the roll cage? Here's where I promised they didn't meet you or so on you. Maybe I don't like that. The life of me. Calling liquid paraffin says that it's a poorly made video and not up to scratch. Now, I do agree with him, and I actually said that I'm tempted to try 15 minutes myself. I don't know whether I can make that at this stage. Sometimes I use a bit of humour. On the school bed, you can fit 2 blokes in the back, and so I put good. You might need the brakes. Now this one here I thought would be helpful. To Roger, delete all the liquid paraffin again. He wants to use it as a service truck of some sort. And I said you need to look at the X-Bus coming out from Germany, and quite a competent little thing. Shows some promise. Anyway, he says he'll have a look at the X-Bus. The point I want to make here is if you're going to make something for service vehicles, you don't have to make it go camping as well. You don't have to make it do the 3.5 second drag strip run. You don't have to make it go 1,000 miles on a single charge. There are so many things you don't need to do. You just need to do what it's meant to do. And you don't need to be super aerodynamic. If you're going around doing river runs around town, you're not going to push the air at 110 miles an hour. You're going to be pushing it at maybe 30 miles an hour from zero with the traffic up to about 30 behind a bumper of vehicles in front of you. You have no need whatsoever to have a completely aerodynamic shape as a service vehicle. Here's good old Bruce in the beta test phase now. Yeah, they put a bow on a crazily rushed, finished beta on the 23rd of December. Sent photos out to fanboys. They put a roll cage in and they put a radiator in it, and it supposedly intended for suspension testing. Nothing has happened as far as I know, and that's why they brought out this shopping trip. There's Bruce having an argument with the police 11 and Tom Peace. A bit worried it'll get dirty leaning against the back of the car, but he's got a point. Not so much the getting dirty. Now we move to that little girl. Guessing she's under 5'9". How did she reach into the opposite end of the deep end of a flat trunk like it is to stack things? You can throw a long item in, but if you want to stack something, I think you have to climb into it and climb back out until you've got the first 3 feet behind the seat covered. They've got an aeroplane flying over now, but Alexander Stone says, but can it float? Well, I haven't seen pictures of it, but if you want a boat, buy a boat. So that's me back to the start. Here we are, done in reverse order. So let's see what I can make it. I'm getting a bit hoarse, so I haven't got 15 minutes. Too bad. It's me from the Aussie Ideas Man practice videos. So bye for now and stay safe.